So, a little dead mouse to start us off. I thought it was appropriate. He's pretty controversial. And this is a pretty controversial synthesizer for like a lot of really silly reasons. Um, but before we get into this, I want to talk a little bit about, because it's like my first video, a few things. One, I am not a professional YouTuber. The sound is always going to be dope because I love to make music, and my goal is to one day maybe have a song on the radio. You gotta dream big, right? Um, but this is not my job. I have a job. I just have been doing this stuff since I was like 4, so it's part of my life. Um, I'm not trying to make money off of you. I just love this stuff. I love talking about it. I don't do video professionally, so I don't really know what I'm doing. I have a DSLR camera, I got a ring light. I'm probably not going to edit these things, so it's not going to be more of like a Tim Shoebridge kind of video. Sorry, Tim, for the accent, just had to. Tim Shoebridge actually is one of the reasons I actually got this. I thought his video was so good, and I really like a lot of his videos. This could be more of like a stimming video. That man is an international treasure. I'm probably going to try to do something like walk through the panel, and then it's going to go meandering off into some other direction. I found out that my DSLR camera can only record for like 29 minutes, so the video is not going to be longer than 29 minutes. So we're just going to go for it. That is an intro. I'll try to put some chapter markers so you can skip through this stuff, but I've been talking for a long time, so before I get into the rest of my spiel, let's hear some awesome stuff. I'll play for you some chords, and then I will play for you the, No, I really do need to talk. Okay, one more sound. There you go. I really need to talk about something. The way I look, I am a girl. I don't see really very many girls in the music industry, especially in the synthesizer community. This is what I look like and how I dress. I walked my dogs earlier like this. I would go get a cup of coffee with my friend. I live in New York City. No one bats an eye. Internet, it's a whole thing. This is just my style. I'm not going to start buying outfits to make YouTube videos. I think that's like totally ridiculous. For me, not for some people. I'm not going to yuck your yum. But yeah, I'm just gonna be myself. If you don't like it, don't watch. If you do, smash that like button and subscribe or something like that. So that's all I'm ever going to say about that. Let's get into it, shall we? So yeah, the Moog One. Some people have said it sounds kind of clinical, kind of sterile, thin. I don't know, I thought the initialized patch with playing just like a 2-note chord is like... I think that sounds really good. A lot of people complain that it's so funny because some people complain that it's too sterile, and then other people complain about being too live. Like, you can hear the phasing. Like, you can hear phasing when you have a single oscillator when you have like 2 oscillators, for example, on a single note. Or if you do a unison patch, because it's like slightly... It's an analog synth, for God's sake. I think that sounds good. So I think this is about as precise as an analog synth is gonna sound. And some people have an issue with it not being precise enough, and then other people saying it's too precise. So frankly, I think people just don't know what they want. All this stuff is very subjective. You can get it to sound like an Oberheim if you want it to, but you have to know what you're doing. So here's those chords again. Check this patch out. These are all patches that I made. I don't really use other people's patches. No offense to them. This is what that synth is for. It's for making your own sound, amongst other things. Make sure it's not too loud for you. I mean, that sounds really good to me. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I made this the other morning and I could not stop playing it. So like, how did I get that to sound like that? Well, this is why this synth is cool. And I got 22 minutes, so I think I'm good. I can talk about it. Um, let's see. This is a two-note unison patch. There is a little bit of detuning, like 3% on the voices. And then the real trick though to this thing is taking the incredible ability to modulate things by very small amounts and like hyper specific things like pitch tracking on oscillator 1 to 99.9%, pitch tracking on oscillator 2 to 100.1%, oscillator 3 to 99.9. Oscillators 1 and 2 are sawtooth wave, but the saws are like slightly different and the beat frequencies are a little off. And then oscillator 3 is a saw mixed with a square, and then there is a slow LFO modulating the wave angles of all three, and then the pulse width of oscillator 3 because it's a mix. And then on the filters, there's a notch filter on the state variable filter, which is feeding in series into the ladder filter, which has a couple of, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying? And then on the, in the polyphony setting, you can set the pitch variance so that I'm going to demonstrate that right now. So if I have an initialized patch, you know, it's more or less playing the same note. Pitch variance, turn it up to like a lot. It's 50 cents, you can really hear it. Take it down to like 30, excuse me, not 30, to like 9 cents. Now it's like just a little bit. Let's go back to that patch. So that's just the front panel modulations. The other things I'm doing, I have some noise mixed in. But people don't realize like the noise floor on this thing is actually pretty great, like most modern synths are. If I turn this up, you can hear the noise, right? But here you really don't hear any, and it's still quite loud. So if I turn off these other oscillators, there's an oscillator, there's a noise generator. I also have a second synth with just a subnote being generated to really give it that like beef. So that's some noise, but like that's 50%, 30%. It's still there, but it's just like barely there. And that's about where I had it. Then you add in the other oscillators, and it just gives it, you know, you're recreating that stuff. And then the real tricky stuff, this doesn't have any effects on it, by the way. This is purely no delay, no reverb. One of the cool things that I think is pretty cool that I did was there are 3 different random keyed value generators, and I have them each set up to modify the delay amount that for both the filter and the amplifier envelopes. So basically, what does that mean? It means like if you were singing in a group of people, not everybody would start at the exact same time. So it gives it that like that awesome alive feeling. The LFOs are slightly modulating the filter cutoff. There's a little bit of frequency modulation, modulating the cutoff. I believe the modulation envelope is causing it to do that kind of like a little bit of opening. Some aftertouch there. Check out what the mod wheel does. Essentially like a width thing, so it adds some more, it kind of spreads the oscillators out a little bit more over their beat frequency. 17 minutes, killing it. Just wanted the ability to like kind of fine tune that. The other big thing for this patch is the LFO4 is at like the highest. These LFOs can go really fast. It's modulating the VCA panning of this. So this is a two timbre like layered patch with 3 oscillators running on the main patch, and I think it sounds awesome. So yeah, this thing doesn't sound sterile. If you think that, you sound sterile. Straight up, like it's just a matter of whether or not you know how to do these things. And I've had this now for almost 2 years, and I did not know how to do a lot of these things with it. I knew how to make other synths sound good, but this is not this gets into the recommendation piece. I don't recommend this synth for somebody who is looking to like turn it on and have it sound creamy and good, because it won't. It'll sound like this. What's going on here? You know, doesn't quite have the same oomph, but do some cool stuff to it, and suddenly you've got like another string patch. I've been obsessed with string patches lately. I think that's pretty awesome. This one's more like I feel like it'd be in an Ennio Morricone like soundtrack or something. Let's see. Trying to keep the gain good for you guys. Yeah. I think this thing just sounds so good. But a lot of people are like, oh, can it do bass though? I mean, I certainly think so. I think a lot of people don't understand what the gain staging, you need that headroom. Let me talk about this for a second. I've got time. So, initialize patch. Watch what happens when I bring in some oscillators. Louder, right? Okay, now let's make it unison. This is 2-voice unison. Get the default detuning off. Louder. And I'm not going to adjust the gain so you can really appreciate this. 4, louder. 8, getting pretty loud. 16, like loud, ow, you know? So you need that headroom because you could potentially use all 16 voices, and if you don't have it, it's going to sound bad. And then the other thing is that a lot of mono synths, like, they distort easily. You don't want your polysynth to start distorting really easily because then it's going to sound really gross. But if you do want to get like a big fat bass sound that's really growly, you can. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Here's like a... I'm not going to use any effects for any of this. Turn the volume up a little. And the way you do that is this is a mono patch. This is two oscillators cranking the gain up, running it into the dual state variable filters, running those in series, running the ladder filter in series with the state variable filters, so feeding the state variable signal into the ladder filter. And like, we're not peaking or anything. And it sounds, and then also cranking the VCA up, obviously. So like you can get that kind of, is it going to be the crunchiest? No, probably not. I think that would be silly for me to claim that, but it does get really crunchy and you can make pretty nasty bass sounds with it. Or you can make like kind of a nice clean bass. Let's. You know? It's there. So you want to get wild though with sound design, you can. Oh. Dubstep, right? Give me that half tempo drum. I mean, just to prove a point, I would never even really use that patch. I just think people like, I don't hear people making stuff with their Moog One. Like, it gets crazy if you want it to. It can do all the things it can do, you know? And then when people say like, yeah, the whole like it doesn't sound vintagey. Like, this might be loud. Okay, we're good. Again, no, whatchamacallit, those things that we like, effects, no effects on any of this stuff. Oh yeah, down there. It can do that all day long. Here's another crazy lead sound. Turn the delay off. Fat. Very fat indeed. How about some 80s? Like, no effects. But even all that being said, I think if you, at 7 minutes, like, even if you just put the filter on with one oscillator and like hard to see the keyboard with the microphone. That was from a song I'm working on. Like I think it sounds good even just with that. Like add a little pitch variance in there, you know, and it starts sounding. It sounds good. I'll do one more. I got so many patches, so little time. Yeah, this one's good. Ooh. No effects. Almost shut off the recording. Like, I think that sounds great personally, my opinion. But yeah, I think this thing sounds amazing, and I think it's so easy. Actually, I don't know why I said that. I think it is so. I was going to say it's so easy to get it to sound good, but I've had this for 2 years and I've used it pretty much every day, and I've also been doing this stuff for a long time. I don't think it's easy. I think it's easy to say that it's not good, and I think that it really requires you to sit down and honestly, for how much is going on, it's not complicated, it's complex. I've never used a synth that has such a pleasurable interface that I was able to manipulate so easily and do what I want to do with it. And I come up with stuff like this. And I like never want to shut it off. So that's it. I'll do some more videos about this stuff. Maybe I'll like do walking through a patch. But please, if you have things you would like to that you would like to have covered, I also have this other stuff going on here. But I really wanted to talk about this one today because I can't remember if I said this at the beginning of the video, but like this is not that expensive for an instrument. And it's not inexpensive for a synthesizer. It's actually quite expensive, but I can't believe this thing exists, truthfully. It's pretty outrageous that they they were like, you know, it would be a good business idea, this, and then they made it. And it's surprisingly without issues. There are some. I don't know if you noticed when I was doing leads and things. Even with multi-triggering on, it has a tendency not to. I'm not really sure what it is, but like the filter envelope specifically will not reset very quickly. It might just be the way that I play or the articulation or something. Yes, I'm aware of the, you know, reset in the more menu and all that, and I've tried that. But like, I think if I really want to play like nasty bass leads and all that all the time, I'd probably get a dedicated mono synth. But like even mono synths have their issues with articulation, so it's just, I mean, it's just kind of how envelopes are on an analog synth. Other things, I've occasionally come across stuck MIDI notes when I've been, but I think that's more of an issue with like Ableton sending MIDI. When I've run MIDI from other sources, it doesn't seem to be a problem. I know I'm just checking my watch because I don't know when the video is going to stop. Well, actually, I do in 2 minutes, 8 seconds. The effects people say are not that good, but can I, like, maybe I'll demonstrate that real quick. Here's the eventide reverb. Like, this is just the reverb sound. And, like, so quiet. So you gotta turn up the gain. The effects are not simple. They're kind of complicated, actually. And doing a really bad job of demoing this right now. I think they actually sound like pretty decent for synth effects. I mean, I'm probably gonna shut it off and use Valhalla stuff anyway, but like, it's nice to just have it there. But as I was showing earlier, you can get a pretty incredible sound without having to utilize effects. That's kind of like the last thing I'll do, and usually only if I'm just hanging out doing something for fun live. So yeah, that was a bad way to end this video, and I'm not going to edit this. So let's hear this one again. I don't know if you noticed, but I am obsessed with this patch. I made it the other day, and I really have not been able to stop playing it because I just think it sounds so good. Probably the best patch I've ever made on this thing as far as pads go and whatnot. But yeah, that's the video. I will very friendly. I will answer things in the comment section. I would really encourage you to be respectful because do we really need more negativity in the world right now? I don't think so. And yeah, I will come back. Please let me know what you want to see as far as more Moog One stuff. I've got these Shelford channels, the DRM1 Mark IV, and the Waldorf Iridium keyboard. Also, of course, Ableton, well versed in all of them. So thank you, and see you next time.